Kevin's log. Ourdate. 01/24/2026. Feels pretty good out here in the shop. I've been keeping the fire going for who knows what actual reason. I just wanted to see. It's getting as cold as it is. If I could keep it somewhat comfortable out here, above freezing. That's all I was really worried about. And obviously it's above freezing. So that's definitely a good thing. It is right now outside, according to the phone. I don't really have a gauge, so I really honestly don't know for sure. It doesn't feel like it, but it says it's 4 degrees outside. It is what, 7:30, something like that right now. So it's supposed to go back up to 6 by 9 o'clock. Who knows? Who knows what's going on, really? I spent most of the day just screwing around. I tied up some LED lights in the bathroom, so if the power goes out, we still have lights. I've got, I don't know, 8 or 10 more strips that I can run throughout the house if I want to. And I've got switches, but I don't have junction boxes or anything like that, so it's be pretty janky. So I'm going to hold off on doing that until later on. So there's that. Woke up first thing this morning. A neighbor down the street didn't have any water. Wasn't really much you could do except bring him water. So we brought him, a 6-gallon thing of water to tide him over until, we figure out. He kind of planned for it. He's got quite a bit of water in the bathroom for the toilet. He's got drinking water. He's got, water around the house for other stuff like, washing dishes and stuff. But he's on hospice. He's not doing great. And his son had to go to his grandmother's funeral. So he left him there by himself. They forgot to turn on the heater in the well house. So we think that's why we think it froze, and we think that's why it froze. He said he left the water trickling. All the data has not been accumulated yet. We don't know what happened. It probably froze at his house as it was going into the house. It's understandable. It's one of those things that I did when I built the pit. The water never goes outside. The wellhead is about 2 feet outside the pit wall. It's buried. It's not 2 foot. But she's been through several winters out here when it was like 3 or 4 inches from the surface. Not even that far. There were some of the pipes were actually poking out when I got over here. But now everything, it runs about a foot, maybe a foot and a half. And then it's inside. And I've got it run around the inside of the pit area, which is where the wood stove is. So if it does freeze, it's going to freeze right there. It might freeze. It could freeze. It's possible. Highly unlikely, but it is possible. So I suppose tomorrow it's supposed to get down to -4. So I suppose we ought to leave the water trickling a little bit. Except, yeah, that doesn't really work like it does in town because it's only gonna kick on about once every 5 or 10 minutes. So it's not gonna have a continuous flow. Interesting problem. I never thought about that. Yeah. I should have had some straw or something stacked up outside the wellhead. Interesting. But everything's inside. I've got a 1-inch pipe, runs about a foot and a half before it comes inside. And it's roughly 2 foot underground. So it's going to take, if it freezes, it'll do it I don't know, I'm babbling. Trying to take things into account, but it is possible. It could freeze. It very, very well could. Maybe I should have put a sleeve over it and put a short piece of heat tape over that sucker before I buried it again. When I lived in the trailer park, and I had everything was all my electricity was solar. So I never knew when everybody was out of power. Everybody called me up. You got power? I'm like, yep, I got power. But I also had water running in there. And for a water heater, I had a water tank sitting on top of the wood stove. So, and then I had a 12-volt pump that would, pump it into the shower when I needed it. So I have a little experience with this kind of stuff. I also had kind of the same thing between the ground and the bottom of my trailer. It was about a foot and a half of water or of pipe before it came straight up into the bottom of the trailer. When I moved in, the water pipes were all frozen. So I was like, to hell with this. I'm not doing this again. So I drilled a hole straight down above where it came out of the ground. Came straight up, and I have an 18-inch piece of heat tape. As long as I remembered to turn on the heat tape, I never had a problem. And I didn't have to worry about the pipes bursting under the trailer because everything came in the trailer. Well, I gave my trailer to somebody who needed a place to stay, and they would stay over at their girlfriend's house because they didn't want to have to deal with the wood stove. And he did that one night and came home. Every pipe in the house had broke, and which made it 100 times worse than if it had been under the trailer. I lived there for very close to 20 years and never had an issue. And he lived there for a couple of months and had destroyed everything I made. Some people aren't designed for that, I guess. Yeah. So I've been working today, just making sure that if we do lose power, which I highly doubt, down south, people are probably going to lose power. But here, I don't think we're going to lose power. We've only got here. I'm going to go in the house anyway. So, I'll show you what we've got so far. Not very much. But you can see it is cold outside. Here's what we got. Not very much. An inch. Maybe an inch and a half. Hi, Angel. What are you doing out here? Well, let's see. How much? How much does that say? How much do you say? Yeah, what? Maybe 2 inches. But it's... yeah, it's pretty powdery, so... uh-oh. I better check on that. It ain't going anywhere, but... I cleaned out my stove today. I threw it in the outside fire pit. I guess the embers caught. On one hand, I kind of want it to. On the other hand, I kind of don't. Well, let's see what's actually going on out here. It ain't going anywhere. Yeah. Okay, I just had a pallet and a bunch of tree branches on it. That's cool. That's something I don't have to worry about doing later. Okay, cold, going in. Yeah, I took the battery out of that. Should have taken the battery out of the Dodge. Didn't think about it. I'm not going to do it now. All right, I'm going to go in. Everybody stay safe out there. It's brutal right now. It's going to be more brutal later. Good luck, everybody. It's a heck of a storm that we're getting completely bypassed by somehow. Bumbling Fool signing off.